Hi, Peterson Toscano here. And while it's true that not everything was perfect in my life growing up, there were good times too. Now, as a teenager, I was profoundly unhappy with myself. I was gay and desperately tried not to be gay. I was not as masculine as the other boys. And I was at a school where athletics was very important, and that was complicated for me because I had asthma as a kid, and my parents owned a restaurant. And so I was very overweight and very, very unhappy with my body. So a lot of insecurity. In ninth grade, I decided I wanted to learn to play a musical instrument. Went into the music room, went directly to Mrs. Krause and said, I would love to play the flute. She despaired. She rolled her eyes and she said, I've got too many flutes. I need someone to play that. And she pointed into the corner. And behind a bunch of music stands and broken instruments was a very worn and beaten tuba. And I said, no, please, I cannot. Please do not let me play that horrible looking instrument. I have enough problems as it is. She said, just 1 year, and then you can play whatever you like. Well, 1 year turned into 4 years, but turns out I was actually pretty good at playing the tuba, which, okay, it's not the hardest instrument on the planet, but still, I wasn't bad. In fact, it opened up a bunch of musical doors for me. I was in the New York State Lions Club band, and I got a coveted spot on the ice at Rockefeller Center for the annual Tuba Christmas. Yeah, a whole bunch of tuba players and euphonium players on the ice being cheered on as we played Christmas carols. It was very cool. And then the big one came. I was ending my junior year in high school when I found out that I was accepted to play in the United States Collegiate Wind Band. And although it wasn't the sexiest sounding name, it was a pretty cool band. 100 high school kids from all over the country get to play in it and tour Europe. Yeah, Austria, Germany, Switzerland, France, and England. I even played at the Barbican Center in London. And that was extraordinary. For one, I had a nicer tuba. It was huge. I wish I had a flute. Hauling that around Europe was no fun, but it was beautiful concert tuba. I got first chair because the audition piece was the same piece that we had been rehearsing and practicing poorly for 4 years, well, 3 years. And so I had the first seat, and I was strangely popular, which kind of surprised me. But these were folks from Kansas and Texas, and I seemed a bit kind of gregarious and outgoing and, I don't know, different being from New York. And people looked to me for leadership. But even more shocking was I was attractive to people. Physically, romantically, sexually attractive. I mean, I had both guys and girls putting themselves in my path, really genuinely interested in me. And this was a shock to me because I never imagined that I was ever attractive to anyone. And it was just an utter revelation that I could be. And those 3 weeks in Europe were beyond magical in so many ways. Seeing the world in such a new way, tasting a croissant for the first time in my life, just so many things. And just finding out a little bit more of who I could be. And that opened the door for me to pursue more about being myself and about being comfortable in my skin, no matter what the size of my body is. So there it is, a good memory from my teenage years.